Good morning, all. Hello, Frank. Hello, Turtferg. Hello, Wally Blad. Andy, the Batman of metal. Hello, Dime Nickel. Captain Peggy, good to see you back in the house today. You know, we got to work out ahead next time you need a day off. Um, hello, B427. Jay and Amy, B Hoot. Not yours, Mr. Hofer. You can. Whoa, it just ripped. I think I saw some of you folks go by in chat. I'll count on Trish to see you all. Hello, Flight Level. Hello, James Melahesquester. Oh, wait. Time to switch it back out. Get a little more coffee. I do like a good bean. Meaning, yeah, like a good coffee bean. Hello, Gary. 59 degrees in Cameron, North Carolina. Tahoe. How are things in Tahoe? Let's see. Do you think about XRP as still? Yeah, has it dropped enough? Where are we at right now? XRP price. Boom, boom, boom. What do we have? Oh, it's down to $1.37. Yeah. Me personally, I look at that as I mean, it's not financial advice, but I look at it as a heck of a buying opportunity because of what its role is. No matter who wins, the bad reset, the good reset, XRP is still very important for moving assets in it. Debbie Biozox will be back up around Tuesday. And that will be before they have inventory to start shipping again. So yeah, just hold that one until about roughly Tuesday. Let's see, whose birthday? Somebody said a birthday. Let's see if I can find that one. Marlene, today is my birthday. Happy birthday, Marlene. Are we going to see the Clarity Act pass soon? Good question. What do you guys think we're going to see next in this crazy world? Regina, Mark, thank you for everything. I want to take your feel in Puerto Rico for the Bad Bunny fallout. They think there's so many more important things in life. Why can't you just list some music, move on? That's their take. They really largely find America's fixation with politics to be a bit on the silly side. Flight Level, today is my significant other's 75th birthday. Happy birthday to that significant other. Let's see. I saw about 50 cranes flying north yesterday in southern Middle Tennessee. Spring is coming. Silver price. Yep. It's staying pretty consistent. Mid 80s, I think, is the last time I saw it. Where are we at? I'll take a look. All right. Over to Miles Franklin ticker. Gold's at 5,067.40. Silver at 84.03. Platinum 21.53. Palladium 17682. Don't be too concerned on your silver price. Where are we at? We're sitting at like 106 million ounces in the COMEX. The open interest, or the people that are considering delivery for March, are like 360 some million ounces. So, I mean, right now you're 200 and some million ounces short for delivery in the next month. Depending on who does or doesn't take it, they're screwed. It's fundamentals. It is just simple math, supply and demand. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy. Let's see. Just reading this headline: State of law threatens to dissolve parliament over stalled presidential vote. Did it? Yep. I'll just watch it. Give it a day or two to play out. The move now to consolidate and force, because they have passed constitutional deadlines. They may force the issue, force Kurdistan region to name a president, and that really does pretty much sign it up for Soudani to go ahead and take the prime minister spot as well. Things are moving well. I just can't believe we're still fighting over the Super Bowl. What have we learned? Crazed pedophiles run your world, and we are fighting over what language somebody's saying the halftime show in. That makes us useful idiots. I know nobody wants to hear that, but it's the painful truth. Yes, Andy is joining today. Waiting to find out. I was expecting him very soon, but I don't know what's going on in his time schedule. We also have Dr. Max Justice today. So yeah, keep fighting about the Super Bowl if you want, guys. I mean, we can talk about everything we've learned about who's running what, who's resigning, the house of cards, the economy collapsing. But if you want to fight about that, knock yourself out. Jules Bell says it wasn't the Spanish; it was the words. Jules Bell's. I didn't take the time to listen because there's bigger things out there. I mean, if you guys are worried about it, knock yourselves out. I think it's silly at this point to continue to focus on that. Like, oh my God, words. I didn't like what he was singing or whatever. Meanwhile, you find out that some of the biggest people out there have been protecting pedophiles, setting up governments, arranging for another color revolution in Belarus. I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking, like, when it comes in the world of importance, you are being distracted. You are getting cake. You are getting your games. You are getting Caesar's out there running all kinds of gladiators, and we're fixated with it. You want to make that conversation go away? Stop feeding it. Stop feeding it. Ignore it. Hang it up. Especially because the left seems to be fixated with it. Just stop talking about it. Let them scream at each other about it. Hey, I don't get it. Don't get it. Hey, I mean, I just don't like it. Don't watch it. Trevor said, I know I was fussing with people on Facebook, but then I thought, why am I doing this? Exactly. Why am I doing this? Why am I letting what is done on purpose to cause conflict? Why am I feeding that machine? Because that's what you're doing. They did that. They ran with it. They turned it into an issue just to get your goat, to get you fighting and distracted by everything but what's important. Collapsing banks, impending war because of collapsing banks, literally satanic, evil worshiping, blood drinking pedophiles that sacrifice human beings. I mean, but yeah. And I have been that person before. So when I say that, I am not trying to offend you. When I say to people, you are being useful idiots, I have been that useful idiot before. The goal now is to be smart enough not to be the useful idiot anymore. Why are banks collapsing? Because they traded on paper instead of real assets, the fiat world. Every time they do it, it's just like Voltaire tells us. Fiat always returns to its intrinsic value of zero. It is tried throughout history. Human history is replete with examples. Walter, still no solid bond news. Do you think the Guthrie psyop is white hats or black hats? Sloop, I wish I knew what to tell you. It is absolutely nuts when you start diving into and reading into it. Was that a news anchor that was considering saying something she shouldn't? I mean, what is to gain, or is it just a random crime where somebody took an old lady? Just go to the FDIC. They had a bank collapse Friday before last, the same day that they started manipulating silver prices. Friar Dog, if a site drops your energy levels, not worth listening to. I wish I could. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Stop, drop, back up. What do you take from it? They are trying to get you riled up and fighting over anything and everything so you don't pay attention to what's really going on. Don't let them do that. Chad, wait. I'm trying to catch that one. What do you mean started manipulating? All right, they threw it into overdrive. Let's see. Studley said when we were close, the world would look insane. Mr. Austin Martin won. That is a great, great thing to state because it's true. It is absolutely true. And it looks absolutely insane. Yeah, I'm not overly worried about the Guthrie stuff either. Now, if I can figure out where it ties in, then I'll probably be very concerned about it. Let's see. A friend sent me an Epstein file saying Trump was a pedophile. Anyone find anything like that? No, I have not, Light Seeker. The most damning thing I can find for the Trump administration on this one, or Trump personally, and the question is what did Trump know, or what were the people around him doing? And when I say that, I mean it very much looks like somebody within the DOJ, FBI, etc., in the Trump administration has been doing its best to protect these pedophiles from the Epstein files. Now, is that reality? Is that Trump? We don't know that answer. What we do know from the files are that Trump turned evidence. I mean, chances are Epstein would still be out there loose, free, and trafficking or right away, creating honeypots and spies and traps if it weren't for Donald Trump. That's what we've learned from it so far. Now, we don't have all the unredacted. We do have some very interesting changes that are being forced because of leaks. In other words, people releasing and putting two and two together. We have more and more files being dropped, and we're learning more. And it's largely because Trump told us to ignore it, so everybody's not ignoring it and they're diving in. So is he just playing it? Is this chess? Did he help cover for some of these wealthy, guilty people? We're going to find out. Ooh, where were we? $5.99. I got close. I was only 15 off. I'll get it next week. I'm going to keep going for 614 until we get it. Oh, Gary, enjoy that short vacation. Good. Let's see. Wife been watching 4 years now. It's first time I've caught you live. 54th birthday for Dewey. All right, we got to get to the news. Dong news, nothing specific. When I tell you it is quiet, it is quiet. But we were told long ago that we would get that close. It would go quiet on the currency, bond side, all that, and we would see the world almost coming unglued. I don't know. That's what we're seeing. I hope that means that we are there. All right, things of interest. Let's get to some news so that we are ready if Andy pops in early as expected. If not, maybe we'll talk Dr. Max into going first and then Andy. Special security reasons, FAA abruptly halts all flight operations above U.S. border town El Paso. All right, late last night, closing the airspace above the U.S. border town of El Paso and a large area of southern New Mexico west of Santa Teresa for 10 days. Guys, that's longer than they shut it down for Venezuela. The notice suspends all commercial, cargo, and general aviation flights in the affected area. What do you think's going on? I really want you all's opinion on this one. Are we getting ready to, I don't know, make some massive strikes using that airport? Are we going to be overflying it? Are we going to be going after, I don't know, hard cartel targets in Mexico? I wouldn't think so, because we'd be violating Mexican sovereignty unless they've agreed to work with us. Are they getting ready to start blowing up some tunnels that went under the border for smuggling? I mean, I'm just guessing here, guys. I'm spitballing, totally spitballing. What do you all think is going on? To say this is unusual would be an understatement. This is very unusual. And I'm a pilot that looks at NOTAMs, so I know how unusual it is. Mrs. KAC is saying the airport reopened today. Perhaps the press got out and they're changing. Somebody's saying it's already reopened. It's open again. What happened? What do you think down? Mexican cartel drones were shot down. Airspace opened back up already. This is crazy. Cartel drones spotted in El Paso. Yes, I did. That store in Naples, that grocery store, Greg, that was a pretty cool article. All right, let's get back into news. Oil price. Let's get into Iraq. The Iraqi mega project no one thought would happen is racing to completion. Total Energy's $27 billion four-part mega project, reducing or eliminating their need for natural gas from Iran, greatly increasing production capabilities. I continue to find this interesting that Iraq is spending a fortune to up their production capabilities, but OPEC leans on them as to how much they can produce anyway. So, what do they have to gain by massively increasing their production output when they're not allowed to sell it? What do you all's theory? My theory is we're about to see a massive change and some seriously lower fuel prices around the globe. I'm wondering if we're about to see the death of OPEC and the death of the petrodollar. I am very curious as to the why. The why continue to spend billions of dollars that you won't be able to recoup for many decades when you could wait and spend that. But other things of note, I don't know why it's doing that. All right. Give me just a second to get that off the screen. All righty then. Really thinking about moving to Apple from Microsoft product. It's all right. Let's get back to it. Stay on it. DEF CON. Okay, that didn't have anything to do with it. Trump considers second carrier deployment amid stalled Iran talks as Tehran warns of a forceful response. This story just breaking yesterday, and it's saying that he's considering a second carrier deployment, which is crazy because many of the people affected have already been deployed or have just been deployed. I think we are reading the news days after it happens at this point. We are not finding much accurate, meaning, okay, that's not the way I should put it. That's going to be deceiving. We're getting stories saying they're considering doing things after they've already done things. Almost like the Middle East. It almost makes me feel like I'm watching something that is scripted as I'm watching this one. Yeah, they've already moved the people. They've already done deployment orders, and this is in the last 24. So then we get a article coming out saying that they're considering it when they've already done it. I'm finding it very, very interesting how things are playing out right now. Do I even want to get into this one? Let's see. 11T funding crisis. Fed trapped as Treasury Ponzi fails. Your money at risk. ITM Trading did this one. 8 weeks, 90 billion in Treasury bills purchases, and that's just the appetizer. There's 9 trillion in rollovers coming due at today's rates, plus another 2 trillion in new issuances. This is for the overspending of the current administration. I know I'm upsetting a lot of people today. I'm just trying to make certain we all keep our eyes wide open. And I believe it to be purposeful, as it is the controlled demolition of the fiat money. It's 11 trillion the U.S. needs to find buyers for, while China dumps treasuries and Japanese capital flows home. Taylor Kennedy connects the dots. The Fed isn't providing technical support. It's gearing up for the largest monetization cycle in history, starting from a balance sheet that's already 700% larger than its 2008 level. The last time and remember 2008, we crashed. They had to do this because we crashed. The last time central banks ran this playbook, it had a name. Several names, actually. Weimar, Venezuela, Argentina. But sure, low volatility, nothing to see here. That's why I keep saying, guys, pay attention to the fundamentals. It's imploding right around your eyes. Right around your eyes. Brace for massive 1 million plus negative jobs revision. Tomorrow's birth death model is finally fixed. It's got to be the controlled demolition. Nothing else makes sense. He's cleaning up, or I should say somebody is cleaning up the accounting statistics. You know how we quit properly counting jobs, who's adding them, who's losing them. We've been manipulating and changing the definition of inflation for decades just to make things look better than they were. This administration is doing away with all the monkey business on the books. Now, if you're the administration doing that, it's going to make you look bad. It's going to make it look like things aren't going great. But what they're doing is they're exposing that things have not been going great for a very long time. It's like a come to Jesus moment happening within our government right now. I have a tough time believing that an administration that is just desperate to stay in power is making these moves. Many would consider it self-sabotage. I consider it doing the right thing and letting everybody see the real books. Does it make sense when you start thinking, is it's a chess game? Is it heck even checkers? Why would he be exposing all of the corruption right now? It's almost like he's falling on his own knife, or he is being the whistleblower. It's not almost like he's very much being the whistleblower by fixing these accounting issues where they have been hiding things from the American people and the financial world and manipulating us, and it's all being exposed. I tend to think this is disclosure that we were told would come with Nasser Jacera. Why Canada's prime? Oh wait, do I really have this one up on the Iraqi front bonsai, guys? It is just painfully quiet. Just painfully quiet. I don't know what else to tell you other than, to me, that is an excellent sign. Why Canada's China pivot makes U.S. tariff relief harder. Just stop and think about this one. Canada has invited arguably our biggest possible enemy to be our neighbor. This would be like your neighbor, your lifelong neighbor, your family. Maybe you got a house right beside your, I don't know, your brother, your cousin. And it would be like them inviting your world's worst enemy who has tried to bankrupt you, fight you, try to cheat with your wife, and inviting them to live right next door to you. I know people get tired of me talking about Canada, but the foreign policy on that one is just nuts. It's like they are doubling down on trying to cause issues. And I would argue that they are doubling down trying to cause issues because it's all about creating uncertainty and chaos. Massey exposes Les Wexner as Epstein co-conspirator, opening the door to criminal charges against Cash Patel. What do you mean? Cash said, look, he testified before Congress that the FBI had no evidence of other sex traffickers. It was just, and that's what your list is, your thumbnail, that it was just Maxwell and Epstein. Problem is, the FBI had documentation with a whole list, and this is the list that was in here. This is the one that they told us was correct, and they had redacted all the other names of other co-conspirators. So they left 2 on here. Well, come and find out. Lo and behold, suddenly we have more being disclosed. Suddenly files are changing, disclosures are changing, things are changing in the files. Now we've got Rima Sheshville. Yeah, I can't even say that one. Megan Warren, Salvatore Nari. We have all kinds of extra co-conspirators. And the things we're finding out about Les Wexner and many of the others, it's pretty scary. The bad thing is, does this mean that the FBI, Cash Patel, does this mean Pam Bondi were helping to cover for these people? Or was Cash just not being given the real material? And when he made that comment, did he make it in absolute good faith based on what he knew at the time? So I'm just, yeah, Les Wexner, like Superman. Does sound like that, doesn't it? Reading some of these comments. I don't know, Kevin, is Massey an ass or is Massey doing the right thing? Or is Trump and Massey working together to force all the information out? There's trying to make sense of this thing. This is crazier than the movie. I don't know. Pick one. Clue, Knives Out. Pick one of the crazy, crazy, crazy ones out there. Victoria Flavio's wife. Happy birthday. Wait, 10 mining employees were kidnapped last Friday from a silver mine called Visla. Where at? Yeah, Ohio Gate, California Gate, Minneapolis Gate. There's a lot going on. Let's see. MarkZ, I heard a bit ago from Border Patrol source that crooked politicians from Utah were trying to flee the country and got caught. Would not be surprised. Would not be surprised. Sir Laugh a Lot. Carney is counterproductive for Canada. I'll be glad when we separate. I don't think you guys are separating, Sir Laugh-A-Lot. I would gladly welcome anybody that wants freedom and constitutional rights, but son Casey had a heavenliest birthday last Friday on the 6th. He would have turned 33. All right, let me keep running. Oh, actually, let me check, see if I've got an Andy update yet. Yeah, we may change to this morning's schedule and flip-flop it. FBI says Georgia search warrant was based on, these are like some of the big stories breaking, and this is what makes me think that it is more designed, the Epstein designed to get people to dig, to find, to look. FBI says, I know, seems unrelated, but I believe it to be related. FBI says Georgia search warrant was based on substantiated 2020 election regularities. What they're saying is once they opened the books and actually looked at the evidence, they've been able to rule some things out that just evidence says didn't happen. But at the same time, they've been able to substantiate a lot of things that did happen. So where are we at? This is getting fun, folks. Some of the ones that they have been able to absolutely substantiate, and they're looking for an answer, is the number of ballots between audits not matching at all. So they can say conclusively at this point, I believe it's 17,000 got recounted twice. I think that was the number, is what is being indicated here. Now, what's true or not, we're going to find out. But they're naming two laws that they are using where it appears Fulton County knowingly and willfully deprives, defrauds, or attempts to deprive residents of the state of fair and impartial conducted election progress by their issues with counting and tabulating. I am trying to not get myself in trouble as I go through these things. Trying not to. But here's kind of your breakdown in some of the evidence. Evans said that on the day of the deadline, the report recount results. The county reported a recount of a total of 511,343 ballots, which was 17,434 ballots fewer than they originally counted. The next day, the count reported the total of 527,000. In other words, they're confirming and just expecting nobody to look at the confirmation. Okay, you said you got this many votes. Next day, no, we had this many votes. No, the next day we had this many votes. Well, we can't really tell how many votes we had. And then they did not keep their records the way they were supposed to keep their records. Like somebody didn't want the records kept. Now, this one is really starting to play out big. Panic ensues after Trump orders the CIA to give 2020 election intel to stop the steal. Lawyer. I've mentioned before, I have a lot of contacts work in D.C. Oh, I don't know if I would say a lot. A considerable number of folks that live there. They are worried between Epstein and what is going on the Georgia and the election results and the evidence that is being shown and presented so far. The Beltway, guys, it is in pure panic mode. I mean, we're seeing the fallout across the pond, but it is pure panic mode here going on. We got a few more. I'm going to come back to some of these topics and give you a few more hard details. Xi holds a call with Trump, Putin, on the same day for international support amid military purge. Xi Jinping's purge of top generals met with the resistance within the party. He hopes boosting his international image will help. Xi Jinping is trying to shore up support before he loses control of China. I told you guys the last week or two, couple of weeks, that the cracks have been extreme, that the infighting has been extreme in China, and it is finally starting to make international headlines. We were just a little early. I shouldn't say we were early. We were on time with the news. They were just catching up. What does that mean? Global instability, governmental changes possibly. Could be a white hat, black hat. Oh, these are going to be some fun ones to talk about with Dr. Max when we get him on, and maybe even Andy. I know. Scientists discover fungus that collects gold from its environment. Some really fun stuff. Oh, we got Andy in the background. This is going to be fun things to discuss with Andy. Let's get him in here, and then we will have Dr. Max Justice after. All right. Now I got to remember the name.
Hello, Mark.
The podcaster that looks like that one. Interesting fella. I want to say he's from England. Good to see you, Andy. How are you?
I am well, my man. I am well. When I just got back from a ski trip, Kevin blew out his knee while we were skiing, which was kind of a bummer. But that's what happens when he tries to keep up with me, I guess.
Yeah. How was the skiing trip?
Other than Kevin blowing out his knee, it was great.
Um, yeah, the IQD LCMX Howard has not revalued already. There's so much crap out there. Can you trust the news at all anymore, Andy?
No, no, I don't think so. I mean, you can trust portions of it, but I think it is all filtered and spin doctored and whitewashed into a neat little agenda that I don't trust. I don't watch it. I watch it mostly for entertainment value. I mean, some of the shock value stuff I like, but just to watch and know what's going on. But for real news, no, there is no such thing any longer. There is no journalistic integrity as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one here. I'm going to start with an interesting conversation, a note from some of the contacts. Registered silver on COMEX sits at near 102 million ounces, while open interest in March contract is about 366 million ounces. That's a big delivery gap.
Yeah,
Even if it never fully closes, people cut deals, trade deals, punt, buy paper, whatever it is. Open interest fell by 2,943 contracts in the last 24 hours, about 15 million ounces. May contracts increased roughly 18 million ounces. March open interest could fall to registered inventory levels in about 18 trading days. There's not enough silver to meet the demand. They keep telling, and we've got mainstream news organizations running stories like dealers complain about having too much metal,
yeah,
shops too much metal. But then when I talk to everybody, they're on a wait to get metal. So
yeah.
which is it? Are they just putting out false stories? Is it true maybe in one small market, so they run that story everywhere? Because I started calling coin shops all over the place, and they didn't have
No,
any inventory to speak
what
of,
they're talking about. I mean, again, they're so full of shit. It's pathetic. Let
right?
me talk about all of this in a let me try and talk about all this in the truth. Okay, first of all, let's talk about the COMEX. Yes, so you're right. As of yesterday or the day before, so they have whittled it down a little bit. But as of yesterday, there was 80,500 contracts of open interest, and that sounds abstract. I think until you realize that every single contract is 5,000 ounces of silver. That's 402 million ounces of silver. That is open interest, meaning those are contracts that are out there. And if they want to stand for delivery, well, they can. And that was standing against 103.5 million ounces in registered. Now, that's 1 out of 4 that is, in essence, getting squadouche, and the whole thing blows up. I think that, and again, registered and eligible, they're the two categories, right? Eligible are bars that are inside a COMEX warehouse, like our Brinks JFK vault. Of the 8 vaults we have, Brinks JFK is a COMEX facility. I have clients with millions of ounces of silver 1,000-ounce bars. They're eligible. They have been approved and assayed within the COMEX ecosystem. They could be transferred to registered, right? That sits at 294 million. You add the two together, it's still underneath totally, which again, 2/3 isn't for sale. It still doesn't equal the amount of open interest. So we're really getting very close to that moment. But to me, when you realize that registered covers only about a quarter of March open interest, it doesn't. I don't think that we have to look for a delivery fault, right? So, I mean, look, if 10% of open interest stands for delivery, that's 40 million ounces. 20%, that's 80 million against 103 million ounces out there. So, for me, the bullish bet isn't that COMEX defaults, because they will do whatever they can, like they did to the Hunt brothers, to protect themselves. To me, it's simpler than that. It's the immediacy. The price of immediacy rises, backwardation, in other words, where the price has to rise high enough to suck out all of the eligible metal, which I think could very easily happen, because they've squeezed out all of the leverage, all the leverage people. And this is what the stupid media is talking about. But of course, as always, they have it backwards. Before I talk about that for 1 second, the media, you asked me about the media. They've gotten all of this wrong. And, they're starting to talk a little bit about gold and silver, right? Oh, it's overbought, and you look at its toppy, and it's certainly had a nice run, blah, blah, blah. But what they're missing above all else is not it's not the rise in the price. It's not any of that. It's the fact that who's standing for delivery every single month to the tune of billions and billions and billions and billions, right? So every single month, whether it be a main delivery month or not, we're seeing billions in gold and silver stand for delivery, and not one word by the mainstream about this. This is as unusual as anything I've ever seen in my career. It doesn't happen ever, and it is happening. And the fact that the media ignores the most important story, like who the fuck is standing for delivery for hundreds of billions of dollars every month? Every month it's coming
every
in.
month.
And that's what is being missed. Now, as far as what the media is talking about, the jacking up of margin is exactly what has caused this problem. When we typically have 3 million ounces of silver in our warehouse, 2 to 3 million, we hedge it. A week before Christmas, that hedge would have cost us about $15,000 to hedge 5,000 ounces. And what I mean by cost, it just has to sit in my margin account. And if it doesn't move against us, we don't get margin call. We don't have to put more money in. $15,000 the week before Christmas would have allowed me to hedge 5,000 ounces. About a week before Christmas, they raised margins to $18,000, 30% or 20%.
Trying to flush dealers out.
Right. And then the day after Christmas, they raised it by 30% to $21,000. And so if you have if you have 2 million ounces like we would, or 3 million, and so, you're talking what, 400 contracts.
Wow, yeah.
I mean,
at 21 grand a piece. I mean,
so what's that? What's 2 million divided by 5,000 is what? Is divided by 5,000. That's 400 contracts. Okay, so at $21,000 each, that means I have to have $8.4 million in my margin account. So how about they just raised it to $54,000 for a 5,000 ounce contract? So if I have $2 million,
they raised it to what? 50 what?
$54,000.
So since
$54,000 times 400 is $21,600,000 in my margin account. But that's just silver.
I'm still backing up, because I'm like, wait a minute, from 15 grand to 54 grand to cover the same amount.
So they
just
changed
3 months.
Yeah, and they keep raising it, and they can raise it.
They're trying to flush people out.
That's exactly what they're doing. They're flushing out the speculators. These are the people who may be very wealthy, think they can outsmart the market and play in the sandbox with sovereign nations, the U.S. government, Tesla, etc. The people standing for delivery are not using margin. The big money, the huge money, whoever the hell it is, it's the Exchange Stabilization Fund, the U.S. Treasury, because now, ironically, after 16 straight months of metal coming in hand over fist, by the way, it's now a critical mineral. How'd that happen? And by the way, we're going to put state-sponsored price floor underneath it. Really? And we're going to accumulate a government-sponsored stockpile. Really? That's interesting. After you front run it the whole way, just like when all of the banks started, the central banks started repatriating their gold from the New York Fed and the Bank of England, as I talked about on your show 5 million times in 2017, 2018, 2019. They were buying after years of selling. And then all of a sudden, by the way, the BIS just reclassified gold tier 1. Really? How'd that happen? How'd they know? Same thing. Someone's front running this. And so they're trying to squadouche all of the leverage. But that's just silver. How about 40,000+ for 100 ounces of gold? Well, how fast does 100 ounces of gold go when you're doing the volume that a company like mine does? Fast. But we have thousands of ounces of gold, 20 or 40 some thousand per 100 ounces. You have to have $50 million in the hedge account, margin account, if you want to be a big company right now. So what has happened? The small dealers who don't hedge, they say, holy shit, the price fell by 40%. In a couple of days, it went back up 35%. But let's just pretend you're a mid-sized dealer and you don't hedge. You think the market goes up. I don't need to hedge. So you take in $1 million worth of silver, and now all of a sudden it's worth $600,000. What you going to do? Because you can sell that all day long, and you will come 20 plus times short of. What are you doing? Hang on a second.
Yeah, pretty much all you can do is
see. This is what happens when I work
from home.
My dogs, this little one, sorry, she gets into everything, like everything. The other day, she got into a pillow, and I had stuffing all throughout my house. I didn't even know. Anyway, so you have to have 50 million bucks in a margin account. If you're a small dealer, if you don't back those spreads up and you take in a big position and the market moves against you, you're dead. And so how about the refineries? The refineries, which provide tremendous liquidity to the industry, every one of them in North America is basically shut down. Why? Keep that question up there. Same thing, Mark. Why would they be shut down? Because if you have $50 million in silver that you took in from the public, in doré, in candlesticks, in flatware, in junk silver, whatever, and this provides liquidity to the market for the mid-sized dealers who don't hedge, maybe they'll sell all the junk silver that they took in to the refiner, right, and melt it down. Okay, so the refiner has $50 million in inventory, right? So they have to hedge $50 million on COMEX. So one goes up, one goes down, commensurate, right? Well, the price had been moving up so fast and the margin increases so fast that the refiners have been getting margin called. So the refiner said, we can't take any more business. It's going to put us out of business if we don't, and we can't do it. So everything is log jammed because of the margin increases to flush out the speculators at that level. When you put into context what the Commitment of Traders report showed last month, I haven't looked at it since, what showed that the United States banks were net long and the European banks and the Canadian banks were net short. And then you put into the fact that the Economic Times article said the same thing, that JP Morgan flip-flopped and the US banks are generally net long. Net long doesn't mean long. It means you have more long than short. It could be 11 long and 10 short. Well, you're net long, right? You have one, you're net long one. What I believe what we saw, which was completely contrived, was one last flush to, I think, get the banks in the US that were offsides onsides. In other words, clear up your hedge books, idiots, or this is going to get bad. There's too much demand. And so I would not be surprised. Now, I loathe making price predictions, Mark, but I wouldn't be surprised to see silver back at or above all-time highs by March. Now, I don't want to be held liable for that, but I will simply say I would not be surprised.
I will be stunned if you're wrong. I will be.
This is how markets don't work the way that we just saw, right? They do not. I'll give you two more examples. So, JP Morgan, who is the custodian of the world's largest silver trust, of course, we know that, and the ones that paid the $920 million fine, the immediacy, right after the price collapse hit its all-time bottom, they covered over 700 contracts right at the bottom and let the price go up. And then listen to this. I'm going to read this one here. So the biggest one-day silver drop in history gets everyone emotional. People scream, panic. The very next day, SLV takes the largest one-day metal inflow ever. So, okay, who's the custodian of SLV? That would be JP Morgan. But the authorized participants like Goldman Sachs and others who fund SLV have the same ability to do what I'm about to tell you. So here's the sanity check, it says. SLV shares outstanding jumped from 550 million to 587 million. That is a 36.3 million new shares added to the trust that day. SLV is roughly 0.905 ounces per share. That's 33 million ounces of silver added in one day, the day it hit bottom, right? So here's the interesting part. The authorized participants create those shares, and they do it by delivering physical metal first. So think about what that means. Silver gets smashed, and immediately after the smash, tens of millions of ounces show up inside the ETF. That tells you that someone with a real balance sheet used the forced liquidation, the margin event, to source physical metal cheap and park it where they control it. In other words, They put the metal into SLV, which they control because they can take share redemptions out of SLV and take the actual physical metal. And it's very, very hard for the market to understand that and see it. It's opaque. But they did it so the shares are not created until the metal is delivered. So in the prospectus, it even says we may issue more shares than there is metal behind it because there's so much demand for the shares that there could be a lag time. Well, there's their lag. They sell the silver way up here in SLV. They beat the shit out of it. And then when it gets down to the bottom, 40% cheaper, then they buy all the silver, put it into the trust, capture all of that difference between what they sold it at and what they bought it at and put it into the whole thing is crazy. But that game is ending. It truly is ending because of all of the delivery. And I think that that's kind of what this is all about. This volatility has been used to shake the people who think they can outsmart the market. And maybe they could if they had deep enough pockets, but you don't have deep enough pockets when you're playing against the behemoths that are standing for delivery that don't care what the price is, whether it be the US government, Chinese sovereign wealth fund, the Saudi Arabian wealth fund, the Indians, you name it. And the Indians take massive, just like the Saudis, massive positions in SLV also, and then stand for delivery. So there's a lot going on that the media doesn't get even a little bit. And all they do is focus on one little piece, which is misinformation. It's like when the left media wants to make Trump look really bad, and they'll listen to an entire speech and pull out one segment that is completely taken out of context that makes him look like an idiot. And that's exactly what they're doing here. It's poorest journalistic integrity of all time, and it just has made me lose all faith in anything mainstream. Anything. When you ask me, no, I can't stand them, and this is the reason why.
Yeah, part of the reason I don't trust media is algorithmic manipulation. They put you in an echo box so that you only see things that confirm your opinion. Unless you go in regularly, you clean up your cookies, you use different search methods, and really switch up. They are busy pigeonholing everything we know, just like you've made comments before. You're only as good as what you read in a nutshell.
Right.
Everybody's reading all the wrong stuff because that is what is purposefully being fed to them. That's all they see.
That is true, my brother. So what kind of questions can I answer for you today? Let's do it.
Let's go
Good
back
to see you, by the way.
Oh, it's good to see you too, sir. It's let's get back to some of these on the ETFs. I mean, at this point, I don't trust any paper.
If you own SLV, the only paper silver thing that I would ever own would be PHYS Fizz, Sprott Physical Trust. But SLV is one of the worst products of all time for several reasons. Number one, you're paying BlackRock and JP Morgan a 50 basis point management fee, the same JP Morgan who paid a $920 million fine for manipulating the metals market. And by the infinite wisdom of our regulators, they're still allowed to control the world's largest silver trust, the world's largest stockpile of silver. But you're paying them 50 basis points a year that come out of the bottom line of your investment to manage said account when they do shit like what I just mentioned. Number two, if you read pages 6 through, I think they're 6 through 12. I gave a speech, and this was GLD, and it was called GLD or the real thing, and it was pages 6 through 12 in the GLD prospectus. The part of the SLV prospectus that is called risk factors. And in things like GLD, which are the same in SLV, I'll just from memory give you a few. The custodian, JP Morgan, in both GLD and SLV, does not reserve the right, the custodian reserves the right to use sub-custodians. The custodian does not have the permission to visit the premises of said sub-custodians where they're storing the metal. The custodian is not responsible for the errors and or omissions of said sub-custodians. And if the bars that the sub-custodians are holding do not meet London Good Delivery Standards, well, they're not responsible for it. If there is a fraud within the trust, the account is locked down and frozen at the day the fraud is discovered. An investigation ensues, and when resolved, payment will be basis the value of the trust at the day the fraud was exposed. So they discover a fraud today, gold goes or silver goes to $1 million. So what? We're paying you back when the fraud was exposed. Read it. Read risk factors. SLV and GLD are perhaps the most worst products I've ever seen in my entire life, ever. And what I really believe that they are designed to do is to confiscate gold and silver. Think about it for a moment. You have the ultimate fox guarding the hen house, BlackRock
Well,
and
think
JP
about it.
Morgan.
It would be like the private market doing what FDR did back in the 30s.
Yeah, without breaking laws or infringing civil liberties.
Right.
What do you mean? We didn't do anything. You
No,
can
we didn't
still
do
own
anything.
physical metal.
No,
You can
no,
still
no.
own
We
it. The
didn't obfuscate.
prospectus tells us we can do this. So yeah, I would sell it yesterday. Not only that, you're paying the 28% collectible capital gains rate when you own SLV and GLD, which is another piece of crap that just makes no sense. Just makes no sense. Why would you pay that when you're buying a paper derivative that you can't take possession of? Dump it. Buy the real thing. Even within your IRA, you can own the real thing. SLV and GLD are at best a proxy for the price of gold and silver. And as you can see, the shares of SLV represent 0.90 ounces of silver per share. Well, why is that? It's supposed to be 1-to-1 because over time, the custodian, JP and BlackRock, use the funds from the trust. In other words, they sell a little bit of silver to pay for the expenses of the trust. So it creates an inequity over time. They're bad. Other than that, they're great.
Yeah.
What's junk silver? Junk silver are dimes, quarters, and half dollars made prior to 1965.
And they
have 90% silver by weight, pure silver by weight. So 90% of the weight of the coin is pure silver. The rest,
now think about this. I mean, because right now you have a special on junk silver at like 99 cents an ounce over spot.
Yeah, and I think it might even get a little lower than that. I think it's the best buy I've ever seen in the industry ever.
I mean, when I saw that, I mean, I understand that there's problems getting rounds and everything else, and refineries are awfully busy or afraid to operate, but that's a deal.
Yeah, I mean, during the pandemic, nothing performed better other than Silver Eagles than the pre-65. I would tell you that there is no probably. It's the best buy I've seen in my entire career in silver.
Chinese vacuum. What are we seeing with Asia right now? Are they still sucking it up, paying a premium for physical?
Yep. A huge premium. And a lot of people get this wrong. Kind of got into an argument with someone the other day online. He says, "Yeah, you're full of it, Andy. It's an $18 premium, but there's a $15 or $13 or $14 VAT tax. So where's the gain?" Okay, there is a VAT tax. You're right. But what you're wrong about is that when the metal, let's pretend this is metal, is delivered to Shanghai, there's no VAT tax. So when I ship it there, I'm making that spread. Where's the VAT tax come into play? When the recipient takes the metal and takes it out of the exchange. They pay the VAT tax, not the shipper. So, and not until it leaves the Shanghai exchange. So that to me sucking sound you hear is real.
That to me tells me that the difference is even larger than the, I don't know, $14 or more, whatever they pay you, because not only are they willing to pay you for it, they're willing to pay the VAT on the other side of it. So they're paying massively more per ounce. When
they mined gold for 20 years. It was uneconomical because they see the big picture. In other words, they were digging deeper and going further and finding stuff that they were losing money on, stockpiling it. Because why? Because they have a massive trade balance of our dollars. They're choking on our dollars that they've received through us buying all of their stuff all of these years. And so they're spending it, whether it be in uneconomical ways in gold and silver, or buying up oil refineries, or buying up gold mines, or buying up corporations or land all around the world, and using that trade imbalance to their favor. And they're smart for doing it. So yes, that is something that's called arbitrage. And normally, if there's something over here that I can buy it here and sell it here, everyone will buy it here and sell it here until it equals out.
Mm-hmm.
It's not equaling out. Why isn't it equaling out? Because they're like, do not let it equal out. Keep paying that premium. Keep giving enticing. So imagine you're getting $14 an ounce and you can deliver 50 million ounces to China as a JP Morgan trader. Let me think about that. So you're telling me I'm going to make $900 million? Is that what I'm going to make? I'm going to go buy a couple of yachts and a villa in Tahiti and my new airplane. After I do this,
I just say I can't afford to play that level because I could use that airplane.
Right. And that's what they're doing, Mark. And that's why China is doing this. They're like, come on, you know you want to. And that's what they're doing. You ever see Animal House, John Belushi with the angel and the devil on each,
Yeah.
and that's what this is, do it, don't do it, do it, don't do it. And that metal is never coming back. But that's what they're doing. They're outsmarting us. They're playing the long game. Andy, what time frame is considered long? Time frame is, I don't know if there is a time frame considered long. Long means just that short means you sell something that you don't have with the anticipation of buying it back later. So if I short something, and if I have it covered, so if I have silver in my warehouse, I wanted to hedge it, that's a covered short. I sell it, so one goes up, one goes down. If I don't have it and I say, you know what, I think that stock, let's just say it's a stock, is going to go down, and I could, I believe it's going to go down. So you borrow this share from a custodian, like it's called the DTCC, you borrow it from them and you sell it. They give you money. Here you go. Now you have to pay that back at some point. And the only reason you would do it is because you expect it to go lower, lower, lower. So you can buy it back at a lower price way down here and make the spread between here and here, right? So the thing with being short is you can lose unlimited because you borrowed it to short it. You have to pay it back. And if it goes up, 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 keeps going, your losses are unlimited. When you're long, I bought this stock and I'm just holding it. That means I'm long this stock. Well, if the stock goes to zero, I lost everything, but I can't lose unlimited. So in other words, long doesn't really have a time frame. It just means that you own something with the hope and anticipation of it going higher. You're going to hold on to it. Short means you sell it. Even if you don't own it, you borrow it to sell it with the anticipation of buying it back at a lower price later to cover your borrowing costs. When do you guys predict you'll be able to start shipping physical? Well, we are shipping physical silver. We're just jammed up, hugely jammed. Everyone is. We did 1/3 the amount of business. We had a record year last year. We did 1/3 that business in the month of January.
Wow.
The most business we did more business in January than I did in most years, the majority of my career. Honest to God. And every other company in the industry is doing the same thing. And so you have companies like the IRA custodians.
I have a tough time believing nobody's buying silver.
We're selling huge amounts.
That's my point. But if you listen to the press, nobody's buying.
Yeah, everyone's buying. Between the custodians, the depositories, all the companies, the intake, the intake procedures, the box. We have guys working 2 shifts working roughly 18 hours a day, 6 days a week to keep up, and we're 10 to 12 days behind. We have boxes that we haven't got to that we received a week ago. It's very, 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 very jammed up right now, the entire industry. And when you throw in the refineries not doing anything, the whole thing is like gummed up. So we are shipping. Please understand, no one is fucking with your money. And the same thing is true on JM Bullion, SD Bullion, Money Metals, Atmex. Go look at their websites. They'll all say the same thing. Due to record volume, we're behind. And, the problem is, Mark, why don't you just hire more people? Really? Have you ever gone inside of a precious metals warehouse and see hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars just laying around? You can't just hire anybody.
No.
Think about the amount of time in our warehouse we've known forever.
Exactly.
And they're strip searched when they walk out the door. No, I'm teasing, but it's not something that is easy to find people that you trust. So we're going as fast as we can. Please bear with us. Please. We're trying hard. It's a good problem to have, but it's incredibly stressful. I don't know if you can see this. Look at how many text messages I have. Do you see that?
Oh, 897 waiting.
Okay. Rick Rule said to me, Andy, you're an idiot. I said, why do you say that, Rick?
Because you give your number.
Because my cell phone is on my business card. I have 9. I got someone today yelled at me. Well, I texted you in December. I said, listen, I sometimes don't see, and my friends say, why don't you get back to me? I'm like, dude, I never got a text. You might go back. I'm getting 300 texts a day. I'm getting 300 emails a day. It's a good problem to have. I'm trying so hard, man. Truly trying. It's hard right now. I've never seen anything like it in my career, ever. Never. So please bear with us.
Dr. Tom, why do legislators not ban companies who are guilty of market manipulation from participating in those markets? Do legislators benefit from the dollar penalties? I mean, they are so incestuous.
Well, I'll tell a little story and also say, yes, they do benefit. $920 million fine that JP Morgan paid. But I've said this on your show probably a dozen times. And for those people who haven't heard it, listen up. For those who have, pardon my redundancy. There is a video you should all watch. Either Andrew Maguire / Bart Chilton or Chris Marcus, Arcadia Economics / Bart Chilton. He gave 2 interviews to both of these gentlemen. And I know both of them very well. And Bart Chilton was the head of the CFTC, the Commodity Future Trading Commission, like the commodity police. And he tells the story that Bear Stearns went bankrupt largely because silver they had the largest short position at 9, and silver went from 9 to 21. They had the largest short position on COMEX, and when it went to 21, it bankrupted them. He says he called into the office of Hank Paulson and who would have been the Treasury Secretary, and Ben Bernanke, the Fed chair, and called in Jamie Dimon and said, Jamie, you must take this short position. We need your help here. Bear Stearns collapsed. We need you to take it. I'm sure we'll make some concessions for you. Mm-hmm. Jamie Dimon says, guys, I will do it for you, but JP Morgan will be in violation of position limits if we do. That's okay, Jamie. We'll give you 90 days to clear it up. Cool. Off you go. After 90 days, Bart Chilton goes into his superior's office, which would have been Hank Paulson, the Treasury Secretary, and says, Hank, not only are they in violation of our agreement, they added to their position instead of subtracting it. They're in violation of antitrust law. They need to be prosecuted. And he said, back down, Bart, it's a political decision. Now, after he gave these 2 interviews within a week of each other, he died 2 weeks later. Not saying there's causation. Maybe he was clearing his conscience as a man who had cancer. All I can tell you is that you have the head of the CFTC publicly saying he was told to back down. It was a political decision. Now, they paid a $920 million fine, so that's good for the coffers. But the political decision would be that they're managing the price of silver for a reason. Now, this is what I've talked about on your show forever. The military-industrial complex needs massive amounts of silver to make high-tech weapons and sell them all around the world, right? In terms of gold, the reason they held gold down is a term called Gibson's paradox, the inverse relationship between real interest rates and the price of gold. If you maintain an illusion of low interest rates to create that illusion of prosperity in your home and your 401k with very low interest rates, your house goes up, your 401k goes up, and you are inclined to borrow much more than you otherwise would because rates are so low. I can buy that Escalade instead of the Tahoe, and even though it's $21,000 more, my payments are less if I get 0% interest for 72 months. Well, that environment, you have to step on gold because gold has no interest. So the theory is if there's no interest, people will buy gold instead of treasuries. If you're buying treasuries in a normal market where the U.S. is trusted, look at the law of 70 seconds. At 10% interest into 72, in 7.2 years at 10% interest, your money would double. So people would buy treasuries and never buy gold. And so the bottom line is that when they had all of these low interest rates, they had to step on gold. They've been manipulating gold and silver forever. Now, why is it ending? Because the world, much of which was never sophisticated or coordinated enough, half of it was third world when you look at India and China 20 years ago or whatever, 30 years ago. But now these countries are sophisticated, coordinated, motivated, and wealthy as shit, and they're all standing for delivery. The system breaks when that happens. That's Bernie Madoff. We were running a Ponzi scheme forever. Everyone was happy. My wife's best friend from Minnesota was getting massive checks every month. They were going to Vegas. They were getting comped in hotels. Their kids were going to $35,000 a year private school. 3 of them, they had a mansion and never paid a penny down on it, a huge mortgage. What do they care? They're making tons of money. First night we go out to dinner with them, however, was the night Bernie Madoff got busted. And they walk into the restaurant freaking out, crying in tears. And yeah, it's really great until everyone says, give us back your money. We want our money back. And then all of a sudden, boom, the whole thing blows up. Well, this is exactly what's happening right now. This is why they raised margins up so high, to flush out all of those speculators that thought they could beat the market. No, you can't, because the market has more deeper pockets than you do. And the folks that are standing for delivery, the sovereign wealth funds, the U.S. Treasury, the Saudi National Bank, they don't care what you do with the price. They're not playing on margin. They're just going to say, here's $50 billion. We're going to stand for delivery on these contracts. Thank you. And that's what's happening. Nobody ever stood for delivery. Less than 1% of contracts stood for delivery. I've done this for 36 years, 33 of the 36 years, no one stood for delivery. Nobody. And now they all are. And that's how you win. It's just like forcing the Ponzi scheme to pay up your principal. That gets the ball rolling of default. And when you look at COMEX and say, geez, there's 4 times as much paper as there are bars, and the first day of delivery is the 27th. Could it happen? Sure. Look at the LBMA in London. 2 billion ounces of outstanding paper backed against 140 million ounces of physical. What could possibly go wrong? So yeah, these things are getting real, man. And I think it's just getting started. So do not get thrown from the bull. The bull wants to throw as many of you as possible. Do not get emotional. The emotions that we experience, there's an entire school of investment theory called Elliott wave, Kondratiev wave theory. Wave theory basically measures the cumulative emotions of the herd. And we are all affected by emotions. The irrational exuberance as it's going higher will never stop. And then the fear and panic as it's falling. Oh my God, it's over. Kids aren't going to get married. No college. What are we going to do? That's exactly what happens. And you have to be able to separate yourself and see the logic for what it is, because they're going to mess with you. If it were that easy, then every dum-dum would be very wealthy. And it's not that easy. You have to have strong fingertips and hang on. Trust your gut. It'll lead you in the right direction.
Question I have, and this one hit, and you were gone last week, but a lot of questions on the new Silver Reporting Act. Supposedly,
there is no Silver Reporting Act. My favorite baseball buddy, Roy, it's a bunch of bullshit. I don't know why they published it. Look, one of the things that makes my company different, I live in Florida. We've had a satellite office here for 20 years that my oldest friend Joel started for me. And I moved here 5 years ago, left the craziness that is Minneapolis. But I left my corporate office there for one reason. It's the only state in America that regulates what is a federally non-regulated industry. Most of the companies won't do business there. We embrace it. We're held to a higher standard, but it means I take all of the classes on AML, anti-money laundering, IRS regulations, and all. There is no reporting requirement that's going into effect the 15th. I don't know. All of these Asian channels, 1 or 2 of them are legit. The OG John Agee I follow, I think he's more legit than others, but a lot of the stuff they're saying is completely and totally false and fugazi, this being one of them. That wasn't OG John Agee. That was one of the other ones. And it's almost like it came out right as silver was getting clobbered, so everyone's going to sell. It's like it was done specifically to freak people out. There is no reporting deal on February 15th. 0.
What people loved your Bernie Madoff story. Yeah, what happened to the couple? Basically, they just lose all the money that they had invested, or
not only did they lose it all, they were clawed back.
Yeah,
her father sold his company like to Levi's or the county seat, one or the other, and made millions, and he lost everything. And I swear it killed him. He died, but he had a life insurance policy, a $10 million life insurance
and they
policy
took it.
He left for them. And they had to cash it out he had to cash it out because he lost everything before he died. He had to take it back and cash out the cash value because he lost everything. That was gone too. So not only did they lose everything, they ended up getting divorced, and they don't watch this show, so I hope. And they lost everything, and they got clawed back and paid millions. Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. And they were high society in Minneapolis for a very long time. Yeah, I knew it. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Look what she got into. Look at this. She got into it. This is in my ski bag. She just ate a little piece of beef stick. Mila, hang on one second. I knew I heard something. How she gets into this stuff. It's unbelievable, man. She's like a little thief. Unbelievable, Mila. End up throwing up all over the place now. Stay away from there. Okay, sorry. I'm back. Here, let me show you the thief.
Parenting. Well,
Here's the thief.
Awfully cute thief.
Oh, she's literally, she gets into everything. Sorry about that. So this is why I have a studio where I do the majority of my stuff. Not today, though.
Yeah, I'm in the process of getting that figured out myself. Just because of distraction.
So I will tell you, Terry, that there is no such thing. Period. There is no such thing as a 1930s Morgan. Morgans were minted from 1870 something to 1904. Those are the pre-04 Morgans. Then came World War I. There were no dollars minted until 1921, where they started making the Morgans once again for half a year, and then they made the peace silver dollar from 21 to 36. So those are peace silver dollars, and they're worth, depending upon the grade. Let me tell you what they're worth. If they're just normal condition, circulated, they're worth $65 if they're just, but remember they're 0.772 or 3 ounces of silver. Oh, hi, Kevin. Kevin blew out his knee.
Oh,
I feel
sorry.
bad for
Dude,
Kevin wasn't feeling well last night either.
Oh, I bet not. Wait, did he go on the ski trip?
Yeah, he was with me.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
All right.
He's mad at me because I didn't have lunch with him one day. I thought he was just, Kevin, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Kevin, he doesn't have lunch with me either. If you want to bop on down to Puerto Rico, or I'll meet you in Fort Lauderdale or something, fly in. I'll do lunch with you, man. I know you need a friend. I need a friend.
Yeah, no doubt.
Andy's just too busy now to have friends.
I don't know why that would have worked. The ACH didn't work. I'm not exactly sure why that happened. However, give us a call. We'll place it for you ourselves.
That's what I was just going to say. Just email Kevin or Josh and have them put it through themselves. They are the world class.
That is a Yorkshire Terrier. A Yorkie.
Yorkshire Terrier. Telling you try cordyceps for pain. I love that one. Dave is better. Just telling you try to cordyceps mushrooms for your pain. Oh yeah, I need you to get me to send an address. We're gonna send you like a whole pack of stuff like that, like a whole hacking setup. We're gonna get you healthy, man. Because you're going too hard. And I am honestly worried about your health. Have you thought about that?
I'm worried about my health too. And I
don't mean from working too much. I'm talking about just security. You're out there telling us things that 10 years ago, you probably would have died of cancer or a sudden mysterious heart attack or run off the side of the road.
Yeah, I think about that shit. And that's why I always try to be very polite and respectful and let it all be known that I'm a patriot and I love this country and I thank God for it every day. And I would vote for the president again. I think if he wasn't the way that he was with his rhetoric and his brashness and his, let's just say his tomfoolery, try to be nice about it, he'd go down as the best president in history with his policy decisions. Now, some of them are questionable. The majority of them are 100% beneficial to this country. And we were headed down such a poor slope where all I said on your show for 4 years was, this shit's too stupid to be stupid. I worry about that sometimes. I try and be respectful, and like I always say, maybe I have the courage, or it's just stupidity to say the things I do. But again, this is the greatest country in the world, and it bothers me, some of the things that we saw. And I think the current administration, for all of their errors and all of their transgressions, I think they are moving this country in a much better direction than it would otherwise be moving. Look, I lived in Minnesota. I saw what it can be like. I'll never go back there other than to see my friends and family and whatnot. I will never move there ever again. I would never live there again because what I saw was horrific. And God forbid that became part of the fabric of this country, really became the fabric. You know, I don't know. There's just, that's not how I was raised, you know, and I love Florida as a result of it. I truly do. Is it
Um,
better to buy coins or bars? I would buy coins. The bars normally are a better value, but for all of 2025, because of the tariff threats, no one imported hardly any. And the majority of the bars come from either the Royal Canadian Mint, the Perth Mint in Australia, or various refineries in Switzerland, majority of which weren't imported. The premiums on bars are too high. So I would buy coins all day long right now.
now people ask him where you went skiing. He went to Vail, guys.
Went to Vail and Beaver Creek.
Yeah. You know me, I'm a big Beaver believer. Let's see. Get some CBD for pain. Yeah, we'll send Kevin like a whole care package if he wants one. I have two silver dollars with the same date on front. One has an eagle with wings out, and the other its wings folded. I wonder if one is. Yeah, I don't know. What's up with that? I'm not familiar. I wonder
They
what year.
might be. My guess is they're 2021 or 2020. Are they asking if are they 2020, Marvin?
Yeah, I'll
I
keep an
bet
eye out
they
for the
are. I
response.
bet they're 2020 because in 2020 they made type 1 and type 2. Up till July or so of 2020, there was the type 1 Silver Eagle, the one that had been made since 1986. And after that, they made the type 2, which is the current rendition. And that would be my guess.
Which coin's better for the buck? That's such a tough one, and it changes based on premiums.
Junk
Whether
silver
you
is the
want,
best for the buck, period. I mean, there's nothing even close to it.
yeah, I mean,
If I
like
had
right
my
here,
brothers, I would own Silver Eagles all day long, but they're very expensive right now, and the premiums just keep skyrocketing on them.
yeah. What is the premium now? Like 24, $25 more?
No, it's not that much, but I'll tell you that it's gotta be. I haven't looked today, but I bet 14, $15 easy. And
Yeah,
at
we'll probably
least, I
see
don't
Kevin
know.
sound off.
Yeah, they're
Um,
much higher than they've ever been, except for during the pandemic.
I'm like 2020,
Uh,
2020, a lot
So
of,
those are going to be could be a Morgan dollar because half of it was 21. The other one is a peace dollar. Are they more valuable? No, unless they're in really nice condition, then they could be much higher. Yes,
yeah, a
because they
lot of
don't have the
folks.
same amount of silver. The new Eagles have 1 ounce. The old ones have 0.77.
Oh, I thought it was 0.74. So that's good to know. It's
That yeah, it's
0.77.
points. The dollars are 0.7723 or something like that. The pre-65 dimes, of course, half dollars are 0.715.
Onk Systems, Andy, what allocation percent per metal would you recommend for 250,000 investment? Would it be 80% silver, 40% silver, or would it be
I mean, it
platinum
depends.
or
If some
palladium?
person's 90 years old, I'd say 100% gold. If someone's our age, I'd say minimum 50-50 silver gold and probably higher 60-70% silver. But don't discount and ignore gold in that kind of dollar figure. When you get up to that amount, you can afford to buy some. Look, when I started doing your show, Mark, a tube of gold eagles was probably at most $40,000, and now a tube of gold eagles is over $100,000. And so the cost of it has gotten to a point where it's harder to get. If you're not spending that kind of money, your dollar goes a lot further with silver.
Yeah, I mean, I stopped do the math since you started joining. Gold's 300 times more, silver's 400 time. I mean, 400%, 300%, 400% more. That is such a massive, massive change.
Yeah,
Massive change.
totally agree. And I think you'll see more of it. I
Will
think
we
you
be
will
able
see
to spend junk silver at its revalue? Yeah, just pop into there are a
You
lot of
wouldn't
ways.
want to do that. I mean, it's real value. You could sell it at its face value. I'll tell you that I was 10 years old in 1980. And in 1980, I was 10 years old. My dad told me that was during the oil embargo, the Iranian oil embargo or whatnot, and inflation. And there were gas stations all throughout Minneapolis that would put ads out in the newspaper that if we'll sell you a gallon of gas for a silver dime. Well, at $50 silver, that silver dime was worth $3.50. Well, in 1980, a gallon of gas was much less than $3.50. So, but that's what they were doing. And so, yes, you could at some point, maybe. That's the whole idea behind it. So, yeah, why not? At some point, you will.
Okay.
Are you looking for the gold silver ratio to get closer? Apps. Look at her. She's back. You knock it off. Yes. I just have to zip up my backpack. Yes. The gold silver ratio will get tighter. And I believe, look, it's historical. The further away you get from historical mean, the historical average, the historical ratio, the greater the magneticism that regresses you to the mean. And yes, it will. And it's getting closer now. I would expect it to get much lower in favor of gold. I do.
Sterling silver, any good to melt down? Sell, keep?
Yeah, normally it is, but good luck finding anyone that will do it right now. Because remember what I said, all of the refiners are shut down right now because of the margin hikes and how fast silver had gone up. It will take some time to be able to do that. But yes, ultimately, I would melt it down and buy real coins. I mean, not like you can trade a candlestick very easily. Well, how much silver is in it? What's sterling? What is it? You know, it's not liquid in terms of that kind of liquidity.
A lot of people confuse glint with paper. Glint buys and puts physical in their vault. It's a very different monkey.
It is. It's very different. And it is legit. The metal is held inside of a Brinks vault in Zurich, and you can sell it anytime and be paid back. You can liquidate it through us if you want physical metal. There are lots of things you can do, but it is very legitimate. Yes.
All right, I've got like one or two more questions, and then I really need to get moved to the next guest. They've been very patient. I love it.
Mark,
I know.
And I'm
trying to get you to have a whiskey with us later. I mean, Kevin needs to join us because he needs one for his knee.
Kevin needs a lot more than that for his knee.
Oh, poor guy.
But Kevin is as straight-laced as they come. So an aspirin is a lot for Kevin. So I would sell the coins before anything else, but you'll probably get the best value for those. What's this doctor talking about that's on next?
Oh no, well, it's we're actually having and this is a great lead in. Dr. Max is going to join us. We're just going to talk about some of the like science and cultivation of mushrooms, fungi mining, and giant waste piles. How to get rare earth minerals without mining rock. Another one here: scientists discover fungus that collects gold from its environment in Australia. Fungus that like literally grows in, pulls them out of the rock, turns them into the fruiting body. Don't know if you've ever heard of that.
There's a lot of good in
Wild
mushrooms,
stuff.
isn't there?
The science is just
I'm
wild.
gonna try and catch as much of that as I can. All right. Any other questions, my brother?
Your thoughts on this is not one Siljay and Highcroft?
I have no idea what.
Yeah, it's
what is
I was gonna
she
say
doing? Look at this. Look at this. You see her? She's always up to no good.
oh, she's looking and she's worried whether or not you're watching
stuff over there. I'm sorry that she's just like purposely doing this to mess with me. I don't know what those are.
Yeah, I don't know what those are either. That one was a new one for me.
Yeah, I'm normally able to figure that out, but I don't know what that is.
We should probably circle back here. Kevin is claiming you left him at the bottom of the mountain alone.
I did not, Kevin. I did not leave you at the bottom of the mountain alone, dude. And you know what? I had no idea. Had I known, I would have met you for lunch. You know, I love you like my brother, so stop it. He's been relentless at giving me shit about this. Like I left him alone. I was with 3 other guys. I didn't leave him alone. I didn't even know that I didn't realize that we were meeting him for lunch. And he's very upset at me over that. I'm very sorry.
He's hurt. He's been abandoned by, what was supposed
to
be.
I would never abandon Kevin ever. Taking him along for the ride everywhere.
I'm having too much fun. I'm
Of
sorry to
all
hear
of my
Andy.
brokers, which are my oldest friends in the world, he is the one who was speaking with me on Monday night. So remember that, Kevin. I carried you with me. Yeah, I need a friend too. So does Mark. Anything else that we need to talk about other than Kevin's hurt feelings?
Yeah. Is there anything you can think of? I know what should we be looking for? I mean, me personally, I may be crazy, I may be completely nuts. I think we'll see $200 silver before the end of March. Probably absolute nuts. Probably more realistic is 110, 120. But I mean, the world is just coming unglued. So, any thoughts when we might see
I
something
just
crazy
I
happen?
don't
Yeah.
know what to really focus on other than what you said at the very beginning of this interview. You're
The open interest demand. I mean, the
It's the
amount that they
delivery
have.
demand into March. That's what, and the first day of delivery is the 27th. Normally, you'll see that open interest start to fall, like you talked about the number of contracts that have covered. And they can do that by offering them an incentive. We'll pay you X above the price for you to cash settle. We'll see how many stand for delivery into the first day of delivery. That's what I would be watching
Yeah, the way I
because
look at it, the only way it doesn't raise the prices to some degree is if nobody stands for delivery. That's the only way it doesn't, because
that's
otherwise,
exactly right. And that's what they would like to see happen, but we'll see how that all plays out.
yeah,
That's
they
an
would love
awful
for
lot
that
of
to
open
happen.
interest they got to clear out in 2 weeks.
Oh, for me, I'm going to keep buying as much silver as I can, calling Andy, getting it when I can, because every time I buy silver, that's my way of tearing a brick out of the corrupt bankers.
But it is, it's true. Jim Sinclair always used to say that, and he would say the only way to win is to stand for delivery. And I agree with that.
Yeah, if enough people do it, the whole Ponzi scheme breaks.
Yes, indeed. Well, I will let you run to your fungi doctor, which I'm sure will be very cool. And I have someone staying at my house tonight and cooking us dinner. He's an old friend from Minnesota who owns a restaurant, and his girlfriend and my wife are playing in the ladies member guest this week. So he's staying here, and he makes the best fried chicken I've ever had in my life. I don't think I'll be able to make it tonight, but send it.
That's
Maybe it'll
okay.
be
I'll
fun to
send it.
drop, say hello with a cocktail in hand. I'll try my best. Please send it.
I'll send it. I'll send it to Kevin because he's going to be laid up with a bum knee. He can't even go see his
Yeah,
friends.
Kevin,
Nobody
you have
comes
no
to see him.
excuse to not jump on, especially in my absence. We'll see if, we'll see how you do there. But anyways, Mark, great to see you, brother. Hope everyone stays well. And hang on, man. This is going to be a bumpy ride all the way around.
Amen. All right. Thank you, Andy.
Stay
Take
well,
care.
dude.
Good to
You
see
too,
you.
bro. You too, Mark. Bye.
Yeah, bye. All right, that was Andy Schectman from Miles Franklin. I'm going to sing happy birthday very quickly, and then I'm going to get to a segment I'm really looking forward to. Dewey, Victoria, Marita. I know there are a number of others trying to keep up with it. So they tell me it's your birthday. Well, happy birthday, darling. May you live, may you love, may all your dreams come true. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. See, now look, Kevin is still going to be working so that Andy can have time for dinner. Somebody's got to work. That's a good friend, Kevin. You're a good friend. All right, let's get Dr. Max Justice in here. It's good. Do you see the articles I put up? I don't know if you've ever had a chance to read anything like that. Um, Fungus that collects gold from its environment, aggregates it into the fruiting body, fungi mining, giant waste piles. I mean, Paul Stamets, when he had them using oyster mushrooms to clean up, there was a super site in South Carolina, Iron Mountain mushrooms. I'm trying to remember where they used it to clear up all kinds of toxic wastes. Mushrooms are cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And good morning, Mark. How's the sound? You hear me okay?
No, yeah, you are loud and clear today.
Great. Thanks again, Mark, for having me on. Definitely appreciate it. And you talked about. I did read those articles that you sent, and the thing about mycelium, it's been around for millions of years. And although gold itself may be chemically stubborn because it locks together at the atomic level so well, fungi has been dissolving rocks and recycling the planet for millions of years. So scientists are now just discovering what fungus did a very, very long time ago.
Yeah, I almost wonder why like waste sites, like just a normal practice for landfills, why they want to be spraying in some like liquid mycelium from like an oyster or something, just to save finding out 100 years from now they poison the ground.
As well as the water. In fact, they're using fungus for bioremediation of oil and oil spills.
They're
They're
using
putting
it they're using it to
the
neutralize coal ash in areas where they have now started using it to clear up, where they're saying, "Oh my god, this is never nobody's ever gonna be able to live here again," and they're finding out mushrooms can clean it up.
yeah, it's the geo their fungus is the geochemical engineer of the planet. There's not much it can't clean up or fix.
Um, there really isn't much. It's just crazy. All right, what do we get to talk about today?
Oh, wow. Your customers or your listeners, so used to talking directly to customers, but your listeners had so many great questions last time. I would imagine there was probably going to be a few more questions today. So would really love to get at those questions that your viewers have. Because I could talk about mycelium all day, but if it's not relevant to your audience, then it doesn't really help them. And I know that people have limited time, limited bandwidth, and we've already been, the show's been going for about an hour and a half. I know typically people
Right.
will drop off. I want to make sure that we bring the most value to your listeners today.
Well, let me make certain I write down the time because I'm going to put this one up as a standalone too. My time with you. I want to start collecting like a whole mushroom series because I think it is just really cool. The mycelium, would it be toxic for the ones that clean up those sites? Surprisingly, no. It breaks it down.
Yeah, again, it's the nature's recycler. It's extremely decentralized. It's very resilient. And if one pathway of mycelium gets damaged, and the system or the mycelium system will create a new pathway and continue on. And that's one reason why it's so beneficial to the earth.
Um, yeah, folks, this is your chance. You got a mushroom based question. This is your chance from the science, from cultivating to when you pick things to different mushrooms. Maybe Dr. Max might not know the answer. I might not know the answer, but we'll probably end up finding the answer. Um, uh, t- what's the
So
chance? Because I know you do like a normal thing in April on your farm. Like you got like Michelin chefs that come cook mushrooms and stuff. What's the chance we can do a meet and greet and get people to come see how you grow mushrooms?
there's a very good chance, Mark, and we'll have to have a couple of conversations on that topic. In this year, we have done it in previous years in April. April's not necessarily been the best of weather. In fact, where I'm at and where I'm standing right now, it's a whopping 34 degrees outside, and I still have a lot of snow on the ground. So I have to take into account weather. So we'd probably be looking around 17 May if we have it this year. And
Okay.
there's a big if right now. So we'll I've got a few conversations that I need to have on
We will get together and talk this soon because I think the idea of doing one in central Pennsylvania would just be awesome. Last event I did in Pennsylvania, we had so many people and just be a great opportunity to get to see it too. I would like to know more about what you recommend for PTSD. Oh, they want to know how to actually spell it. This one's such a tough one. Because if we're going to talk about something with psilocybin, suddenly we look like like the drugged out hippie down the street. No matter what the science, and the science is overwhelming, and it's impressive, and I know so many people that have used it, and it's been effective. But how do we have the conversation without getting in trouble?
well, yeah, it really, I guess, it depends on the platform that you're using on whether or not you get in trouble or not. There's definitely several benefits to various psychedelic mushrooms, but let's not necessarily talk about the psychedelics because I know people are scared of those type of mushrooms and they think that, oh, they're bad because our government made it illegal. Well, thanks to Richard Nixon, and he is the reason why those mushrooms are illegal. And if you can't tell, folks, I'm a U.S. Marine as well as an Army soldier, and those type of mushrooms have helped my brothers and sisters quite a bit. Now, getting to that question on the PTSD. And first, let me back up even further. I saw another question. Where is your store? Well, freedomforgecoffee.com is our store, and that's where you can get many of our mushrooms and tinctures. Now, that being said, what would you use in particular for PTSD? I'd say first and foremost, number one is Hericium erinaceus, which that's the Latin term for lion's mane. Lion's mane is a nootropic. It means it's known for promoting the growth of brain and nerve cells, fends off Alzheimer's and dementia, gives clarity of thought. In fact, I tell people all the time, if you take lion's mane on a daily basis, after 3 weeks, or within 3 weeks, now depending on how young you are, the younger you are, the quicker you're going to notice it. But even folks that have like stage 1 onset of Alzheimer's or dementia will notice a difference. And those with PTSD should absolutely notice a difference of taking lion's mane within 3 weeks of daily use. They should notice a more calming effect. They're not going to be quite as negatively reflecting on the past, but more positively looking towards the future. And it goes to, like we were talking about earlier, with fungus being very resilient, creating new pathways. Well, it creates new neural pathways. And when you create new neural pathways, whether it's through lion's mane or various psychedelic mushrooms, you tend to be more forward looking. You tend to be more optimistic. It's when those brain cells start dying out that you start being pessimistic. That's when you start getting more moody, as well as people who are suicidal. It's because they're not promoting the growth of brain cells. So, learning, interacting with others, talking to people, and taking your lion's mane daily are all great things that you could do for PTSD, to avoid stress, and to help with any negative thoughts. Reishi and cordyceps are also some other good mushrooms that you could use there, but I really would recommend lion's mane.
Yeah, highly. Friar Dog just say love lion's mane for PTSD, overall aches and pains. It is good for those things too. It's like a super nutrient for your nervous system. For the questions for those, and I'm just going to say all I did was a quick search: magic mushrooms and PTSD, and science, neuroscience, I mean, yeah, you're looking at all the medical sites and all of just, I mean, the studies out there are really cool, really
Right.
cool.
And you'll notice that was in Science Direct as well as in Nature, which is one of the most influential scientific periodicals that we have in the US, in fact, across the world.
Yeah, we're not talking about the some little community college down the street or headshop.com guys. We're talking about respected scientific publications have torn this apart, and the science is just beyond, well, it's just beyond awesome. I mean, PubMed, pick something respected. They've done research on it to support that. Parkinson's, it's another one of those that they're having tremendous success with lion's mane. Dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. I'm not saying it's going to cure anything. I'm not claiming that at all. But the indicators are pretty cool on how much it helps.
And I would add depression to that as well.
You know, I didn't even think about that when you were talking about the lion's mane. And they were talking about just a lot of people talk anxiety or whatever, but it really does not just things like PTSD, it's anxiety, it's depression, it's ADHD.
In fact, I was actually just reading a comment on LinkedIn earlier this morning that I want to get back to and respond. A recent periodical has come out from the government very recently that we've seen a spike or increase this past year of suicides with many of my brothers and sister veterans. And that it just bothers the crap out of me that we're continuing to have the numbers go up and not down. And those that are facing depression, I highly recommend taking lion's mane, reishi, cordyceps. And one reason why I say cordyceps because cordyceps contain cordycepin, which is an anti-inflammatory that helps with the cycloketones. For people that are stressed out, depressed, they often have a lot of fatigue. And cordyceps is going to give a person energy, a great deal of energy. So I would highly recommend cordyceps for people that face depression, especially whether it's PTSD and many of the others, whether first responders, veterans, nurses and doctors, and many others that are in high stressful environments.
Let's see, what else do we have here? Just reading some folks' comments. Nerve pain.
Yeah, reishi is a great one for nerve pain as well as lion's mane. Because lion's mane, again, it goes back to helping with new neural pathways. But reishi is absolutely phenomenal for nerve pain, for arthritis. It's very rich in triterpenes and beta glucans. Triterpenes are documented in many countries and many organizations, whether universities, labs, and so on, to help with anti-inflammatory effects, which that really helps with nerves as well.
Dave asking a question, and it's been years. I'd have to look for the science again, but are there any benefits to like button mushrooms, portobellos, oysters, etc., that I guess Dave eats a lot of? And my research that I had done shows 2 to 3 servings per week will reduce your chance of developing dementias later in life by around 300%. And that's just like we're just talking about your mushrooms on your pizza, your button mushrooms on your salad. So your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, button mushrooms they're good. In fact, I don't want to talk bad about any mushrooms. Button mushrooms, which by the way, you have button mushrooms, portellini mushrooms, and portobello mushrooms. They're all the same mushroom. The only difference really there is size. And now they are nutritionally dense. They're very low calorie, low fat, and they have a great deal of fiber, as well as they provide many vitamins, especially vitamin D, the riboflavin, niacin, plus selenium. So very good for you, whether it's vitamin D, anti-inflammatory, some metabolic health. And there's even some research that suggests agaricus mushrooms, which is button mushrooms, can help with the influence of aromaceae activity, which really that's for hormone-related cancers.
We talked about the mental aspects, and I kind of glossing over the cancer treatment benefits from so many, or support to the treatments you're already doing. Can lion's mane help epilepsy? Just do a quick search. A lot of these do a quick search. You're going to get overwhelmed in a good way by the research on those. I don't know what to say on autoimmune disorders. I don't know if they regulate. I know that they are tremendous support for the immune system, but I don't know how to answer that one.
again, autoimmune, lion's mane, and reishi are phenomenal for them. There's several different types of autoimmune diseases and disorders, but many of them, or that they help with, many of them, it helps with the misfiring of autoimmune disease. It contains many beta glucans that I talked about in the last mushroom, but turkey tail is the most widely studied mushroom on the planet with over 14,000 scientific studies. And they've identified that it helps with immune receptors, such as, I think it's called Dextin 1, which they don't necessarily boost immunity, but they tend to normalize the signaling, which means that it enhances the weak responses, as well as provides a calming effect, especially in anti-inflammatory or inflammation. And now, somebody asked earlier about using turkey tail, like for pets. In fact, turkey tail is really good for dogs as well as cats. I've got two hounds back there. In fact, you can see them sacked out. That's about where they spend most of their time for 2.5-year-olds. But they do go out there very energetic. But I give my dogs turkey tail. It's really good to help with their immune support, as well as it's an adjunct for cancer care, as well as post-surgical for immune recoveries and gut support health. Now, turkey tail is phenomenal for gut support health in people as well as pets, to include cats. Now, cats tend to be a little bit more metabolically sensitive. And the reason why is because they lack certain liver detox pathways. So with cats, you want to be a little bit more conservative, but there are definitely immune support, gut health. But I'd be very careful with turkey tail, especially as it revolves around dosing. So I probably recommend that you talk to your vet when it comes to your cat and turkey tail. But for pets, whether it's cats, dogs, as well as humans, it's really good to help to go alongside chemotherapy. So for those of you that have pets that are going through chemo, or friends and family going through chemo, turkey tail is extremely valuable there. And and notice one person with Sada Koilov. They've had mushrooms help with autoimmune. Awesome. Glad to hear that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Uh-oh. Not sure. I see the counter going, but I think Mark may have locked up. Or it's me, but if it isn't me, I'm just going to go ahead and keep talking. Now, somebody asked about kids. So there's no good answer for kids. I would be very careful on giving kids mushrooms. There's culinary mushrooms, there's functional or medicinal mushrooms, as well as there's psychoactive mushrooms. So you'd want to be careful on those type of mushrooms. Now, so for culinary, yes, it's very safe for kids to eat culinary mushrooms, whether it's button mushrooms, lion's mane. And the reason why is mushrooms are very high in fiber. They're very high, or known for essential vitamins and minerals, especially like vitamin D, selenium, and vitamin B. So that vitamin D is really good. Well, those mushrooms that if they're UV exposed, meaning if they've been sitting out in the sun, they're getting those light or UV rays from the sun. Those are really good for kids. So if your kids aren't getting outside enough, set your mushrooms outside for about an hour. Let them absorb the UV light, and that will be phenomenal for your kids. Now, going to the medicinal mushrooms for your kids. That's a little iffy. Welcome back there, Mark. We're talking about kids and mushrooms, but I think
Excellent.
so medicinal mushrooms. Now, this is where the nuance really kicks in. There's very limited pediatric research, especially on concentration or extract. I often don't recommend our tinctures for kids. Now, there are, in fact, I've heard so many comments from many Freedom Forge Coffee customers that talk about how cordyceps has helped their kids with becoming great athletes in soccer and baseball, just are the two in particular I've heard of. And how lion's mane really helps with ADD, ADHD, and all the other DDDs. Uh, those are absolutely great to help with. But those are more, I would recommend eating in the fresh, the freeze dried, or the dehydrated person way, not necessarily in a tincture. Now, one of the reasons, so uh, I wouldn't, or our tinctures we do a dual extract in water and alcohol based tinctures. Now, in the alcohol, you're talking about a serving size is 15 drops. So you're talking about 7.5 drops worth of alcohol, which really isn't a whole lot. My mother used to put alcohol on my teeth whenever I was an infant teething, and I turned out just fine. Although I was a Marine for a little while.
Okay, right. I'm just gonna say, as a recovering jarhead, I mean, I get it.
Right. So, but I would be worried about medicinal mushrooms because there are nuances there. So, if there are specifics about kids, great. I'd love to talk to them or talk about them. But those are several of the benefits.
Somebody asking anything with indicators for kidney and lungs. Dad just got a doctor report on some of these issues. I know there are, and I'm trying to remember. There are a number of mushrooms that show great indicators for lung health, but I don't know what to say on the kidney side.
Yeah, kidney health. Wow, there are some really good ones out there. Reishi, which is the Latin term, is Ganoderma lucidum. Reishi is phenomenal in helping because, again, the triterpenes and polysaccharides help reduce oxidative stress as well as anti-inflammatory signaling within the kidneys. So absolutely, there is a lot of data, whether it's clinical, in vitro, or whether in and out of the lab. There's a lot of data that shows it helps with kidneys. And chaga is another really good one there. Chaga is very high in oxalates. So people who are prone to kidney stones or with advanced kidney disease, now high oxalate intake can be problematic. So you want to be careful if you get a lot of kidney stones or you have advanced kidney disease. So I'd be careful there. Now, people asked about lung health. First and foremost, cordyceps is phenomenal for lung health. It's known to improve the respiratory and vascular systems, as well as it helps to influence and reduce inflammation pathways, which improves oxygen utilization because cordyceps helps promote oxygen in your red blood cells. So that really helps with cellular energy.
Oh, I can see where that would help people that are suffering from what's the where you like might have internal bloating, bleeding, low iron, anemia. I could see where that would really help with anemia,
Um,
or could, if it's increasing that oxygen absorption by the red blood cells.
Now,
Just thinking through the
anemia,
process.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm not aware of a lot of solid evidence with anemia, because it could provide some irritation to rectal or not rectal,
Renal.
renal mucosa. Thanks, appreciate that. As well as it could potentially introduce contamination if the solution's not sterile, which that's kind of why we do in alcohol for that sterilization, vice glycerin in our tinctures. And as well as it could really throw off your electric uh, electrolyte imbalance. So I'm just a hillbilly. Some of these big words I have to really think about. It's the small words that I get. I am a jarhead.
Capsules or tinctures best? And I'm just going to say it totally depends on which one will you take, which one's more convenient, what was your source. There's like, what's the mushroom?
And the powder could be fruited body. It could be include mycelial mass. So understanding the difference between the two, understanding if the tincture was either single or dual extracted. Single extracted usually is just water or just alcohol. So you kind of do have to ask. Some people even do it in just glycerin, which really there's not a great deal of people that do it in just glycerin. I've seen more people do it. The industry standard is a dual extract of water and alcohol.
What mushroom beneficial for heart health, including heart disease, AFib? Um, I'm
So
going through my head too, trying to think of any studies or in the past that I have read. And a lot of these questions you're asking us, put in your search engine, folks. You can answer a lot of your own questions.
really quick, reishi, shiitake, oysters, and cordyceps are all really great for heart health. It really depends on what in particular you're looking for heart health.
Thyroid, get those questions a lot.
Oh, very much so. For your thyroid, there are a number of different mushrooms that you could use. Reishi, turkey tail, cordyceps are all known for also improving thyroid. So at Freedom Forge Coffee, we have, boy, I should know these off the top of my head, the names, but we have a 7 mushroom blend, and darn it. Go to Freedom Forge Coffee, look for the 7 mushroom blend. That's really going to help with a lot of the things that we had talked about here. And again, it has those 7 mushrooms that I've been referring to: lion's mane, reishi, chaga, cordyceps, turkey tail, and maitake. Maitake is one that we haven't really talked about, but there are a great deal of health benefits to maitake, or what some people call hen of the woods.
Plus, it's pretty tasty. Shagas, chagas. I mean, we're getting just so many of those questions. I don't know how much longer I've got you for. Mushroom hunting. A lot of people like, how do I identify what's in my yard? Do you know of any good, I don't know, maybe apps or pictures? So many of us in the mushroom guys, I started the mushroom industry, I don't know, like 14, 15 years ago. And from growing them to collecting them to commercially growing them and selling them, been in a long time and love it. And you start growing them, you learn about them, you recognize them. Any good resources that you can think of out there to help people? Or like, what in the heck is that? I mean, I don't even know if they're like good apps. I mean, they got apps now where you can like take a picture of a leaf and it tells you, what the plant is, what nutrients it needs, where you can find it. I don't know if there's anything good for mushrooms like that.
So, wow, there are several that I personally use. First and foremost, on your cell phone, take a picture of it for iPhone as well as your Android phone, and let your phone do the search. Often it comes back with results. Now, if you're looking for a particular app, there's a couple I've used. iNaturalist and Shroom ID are really good apps, and I'm sure there's a couple others out
I had somebody that hunts mushrooms tell me they just put it in and then they ask Grok to identify it, or Chat GPT, because they got like the mobile application, and it says that works great, that it even uses some of the apps out there to help it do its job, which I thought was pretty cool. I've not tried that though. So that's why I was asking you, because I've not tried that. I just look at them and I usually know what they are just from years and years of working with mushrooms. Um,
there.
what
Now, a couple of rules with thumbs there. If the mushroom comes out of the ground, meaning out of soil, like in your yard, chances are it's not a mushroom that you want to ingest. In fact, those most
like little
likely are
browns?
right. Mushrooms that grow off of trees tend to be mushrooms that you can eat, and some mushrooms grown out of poo, like button mushrooms, agaricus, the various psychedelic mushrooms. Those are mushrooms that are poo based. So yes, you can actually eat a mushroom that has come out of some horse manure. I myself, I'm not necessarily a big fan of those. And I do want to say a big thank you to Jeremy. He's Johnny on the spot. That 7 mushroom blend tincture is Fortify. I highly recommend Fortify. It's a great daily health and wellness tincture for everyone.
Um, Vicky just asking for some of the benefits of chaga.
Wow, the benefits of chaga off the top of my head. Um, there are, yeah, I actually have a cheat sheet that I use just because I have all of that wallpaper on the
Yeah,
wall.
I'll work on getting them a good cheat sheet like that. But I mean, I know it's immune support, antioxidant. I'm just trying to. I could probably just do a proper search. Yeah, Mountain Gold. We'll put them in Telegram rooms.
All 7 of those mushrooms that are in Freedom Forge's Fortified tincture, those are every single mushroom in there is an anti-inflammatory. Now they all provide or have uh, particular benefits for anti-inflammatory, like lion's mane. Lion's mane is one of those few things that make it past the blood-brain barrier, so it's an anti-inflammatory for your brain. But now chaga is a good anti-inflammatory because it works with your cytoketones, such as TNF alpha, as well as with IL-6. And now I would do more research if you're looking for a particular item that you're trying to help with an anti-inflammatory or antioxidant support and metabolic support, liver support. But chaga helps all of those. So chaga, it's definitely a very powerful mushroom.
I just saw the time. I'm going to have to start wrapping us up. Dr. Max, I can't thank you enough. We'll get more scheduled on these. We probably should do like a freestanding mushroom or mycelium madness minute, or something like that, like regularly. This is too much fun for me.
I'd love to hear it, Mark. Thanks so much. I really appreciate you having me. And even more so, I really appreciate your listeners. The number of listeners that I've talked to from the MarkZ show over the last couple of weeks, it's been phenomenal. So whether it's been in the chats, on the various streams, or actually phone and email, it's been great to speak with many of your listeners, and it's been very exciting. So thank you all.
Yeah, we appreciate you greatly. That's for certain, because I've had a number of people that have just reached out and been able to just to carry on a chat with you. And we'll work on making you more available for people's questions. I don't want to overload you on time, but for what you're up for.
I appreciate, because in fact, as often what happens on a mushroom farm, something breaks. Almost every day, something breaks, and while We've been here on the show. I've had an issue that needs my immediate
Attention.
attention.
All right.
Thanks.
You go get to it, and I'll reach out to you later today or tomorrow.
Great. Thanks all. Stay well.
Thanks, Dr. Max. Dr. Max Justice, in the industry, raising them, growing them, extracting them, just a wealth of knowledge. It's always fun to bring somebody with that level of background to mushroom. I want people to discover them. There's so many great companies out there that sell them, that carry them. Just make certain you're getting good quality. I don't care who you're getting them from. I just want you to get the best bang for the bucks. And there's some great ones. A number of them come on the show. Great ones. Just learn about things you can do for your health. We're under attack, and without health, wealth means nothing. So really all I wanted to share on that front. For me, it is more important to get good quality ones in your hands than anything else. Let's see. Claims. Oh, wait. Breaking third letter sent to TMZ founder Harvey Levin claims to know who Nancy Guthrie kidnapper is. Well, if he's out there listening, tell Harvey Levin to reach out to the original MarkZ at gmail.com, and we'll get him in here and let him explain who it is. I would love to get that thing. Smells fishy. I mean, fishy. There's so much information hitting right now. The disclosure is nuts. It's warp speed on disclosure. We said it would be like this. I was told it would get really quiet on currencies, bonds, all that, and disclosure would ramp it, and then bam, it would happen. I'm excited about it. All right, let me get out of here. I've got a lot waiting on me already, folks. Look forward to seeing you this evening. Again, Wednesday night's the only time we're doing evening podcast now, unless there is a special event or breaking news. Wednesday night's your only night. Do a brief news update at 7, and then Whiskey and Wisdom at 8 Eastern. Look forward to seeing you guys tonight.